20-minute vegan meals. I don't know about you, but I am all about having some quick, stress-free vegan meals to make on the fly, especially when life gets super busy. And these meals that we're making today will give you just that. First up, we've got one pot pasta primavera that's super creamy and luxurious. The end result will taste like you spent hours making it, but in reality, it's just super quick and easy. The first thing we need to do is prep our broth, which will give the dish all of its flavor. And then while that's heating up on the stove, we can prep our vegetables.
So to a pot, I'm adding 1 can of light coconut milk, along with 2 cups of water, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. I like the non-fortified kind here. 1 teaspoon of sea salt, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and 1 teaspoon of parsley. Then I mix it all together in the pot, take it to the stove over high heat, and let it come to a simmer.
We've got our broth heating up behind us, so I'm gonna go ahead and prepare my vegetables. I'm using fresh vegetables today to chop them myself, but if you wanted this meal to go even quicker, you can use frozen vegetables that are already chopped or just already chopped and prepared vegetables that you can just throw in the pot.
First, I'm dicing up a red onion, but you could use a yellow onion if you want to as well. Then I'm using a red pepper and a yellow pepper, along with some carrots. I like to make all my vegetables super colorful to make this dish nice and pretty. Then I added in my Banza chickpea pasta into the broth along with those vegetables that I just chopped up, mixed it all together and bring it to a boil. For the rest of the vegetables, I'm chopping off the leaves of the broccoli to add to my greens later on. Then I begin chopping up the broccoli into little florets. Then I diced up 1 whole tomato, and usually I would just use cherry tomatoes and keep them whole, but I didn't have that, so I used a whole tomato instead. Then I just added my greens into a colander along with the broccoli leaves and washed them thoroughly. The pot came to a boil, so it was time to add in the rest of the vegetables, including the broccoli, tomato, and the greens. Once I added it into the pot, I stirred it all together until everything was nice and combined and the greens started to wilt. Then I added in juice from half a lemon, stirred that all together, and then let it sit for a few minutes so the sauce could thicken up. Once I let it thicken for a few minutes, I took it off of the heat, and then it was time to plate up, so I just added it into my dish and sprinkled on some green onions along with red chili pepper flakes for some extra heat.
This looks so delicious, and I love that it all came together in one pot and in 20 minutes, so let's taste it. That's amazing. Like I said, it tasted like I just spent hours making it, when in reality, it only took like 20 minutes or less. It's a great way to pack in the vegetables, super awesome for your whole family. It's a win. Next, we're making dirty cauliflower rice, which will be a vegan take on the classic Creole dish, still packed full of Cajun flavor. All in under 20 minutes, this one is sure to be a hit. So this dish is traditionally made with meat, but obviously we're not using that because we're vegan. And I am using these meatless pea protein crumbles. So this is texturized pea protein, but if you don't have this, you could get the texturized vegetable protein, which is made from soy, but I get mine from Amazon, so I can link that below. But we need 100 grams of this.
To our texturized pea protein, I'm just adding in some boiling water to rehydrate it to give it more of a meaty texture. Then I just stirred it all together and let it sit for a few minutes. To prep the vegetables, I'm dicing 1 whole red onion. Again, you could really use any kind of onion that you want. I'm also adding in 1 red bell pepper and chopping it into small little pieces, along with 2 stalks of celery. For the spices, I'm using 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 2 teaspoons of black pepper, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of thyme, a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1 teaspoon of basil, and 1 teaspoon of oregano. In a skillet over medium-high heat, I just added in all of my vegetables and then sauteed them until they were soft. I also added in 5 cloves of garlic, but you can really use however many cloves of garlic you want because you can never have too much garlic. I also added in 1 12-ounce bag of frozen cauliflower rice and let that get hot and browned before I mixed it all together. Once the cauliflower rice and vegetables are completely heated through, I added in the texturized pea protein and mixed that all together until that was heated through as well. Then I added in all of my spices, and make sure you adjust your spices to taste because you might need to add more or less depending on how spicy or flavorful you want this dish. After that, I took it off the heat and it's time to serve it up. So I just added it into my bowl. I also chopped up some fresh parsley to sprinkle on top to give it extra flavor, along with some red chili flakes for some extra heat.
So I don't typically make a whole lot of Cajun inspired dishes, but this looks super good and I am so excited to try it. Wow, that is really good. Very spicy. Also, the parsley is a win. Like, kind of makes me want to add parsley to the whole entire dish and then add more parsley on top of that. It's definitely got a kick of spice in there, but it's Cajun, so obviously it's going to be spicy, but the parsley does kind of cool it down a little bit. This is really good. Next, we're making some tofu curry that is super comforting and so delicious and comes together with some pretty minimal ingredients. And one of the reasons that it is so quick is because I'm using this Trader Joe's spicy pumpkin curry sauce. So if you don't have this, then you can try to find a different kind of vegan curry sauce. I'm showing you this because sometimes it is okay to use convenience item foods that are already made for you to make your life easier. To start, I'm just gonna go ahead and make some basmati rice in my Instant Pot because it literally only takes 6 minutes, and while that's going, I can go ahead and do the rest of the meal.
It's time to prep the vegetables, so I'm using 1 red whole onion again, just dicing it into small pieces because I love onions. Then I had a red and yellow bell pepper that was left over and I really wanted to use it up, so I just added it here and chopped it up. I also chopped up about 100 grams of mushrooms because I love mushrooms and they go well in everything in my opinion. To a pot over medium heat, I just added in my chopped vegetables and added in a splash of water as well so that I could saute my vegetables until they became soft.
So obviously we're using tofu because it is tofu curry, and I already pressed mine and I'm using Extra Firm, but feel free to use whatever kind you want. I'm just going to dice this into cubes.
I just added my diced tofu into the pot with the vegetables and stirred it all together until those got heated through. Then it was time to add in our spicy pumpkin curry sauce, so I added in 1/4 of a cup. Then I realized that it needed more, so I added in a total of 1/2 a cup of the curry sauce. Mixed that all together until everything was coated and flavorful, and then I added in 1/2 a cup of vegetable broth as well. Then I added in some spinach and mixed it in until it was wilted. At this point, our curry is coming together nicely and is looking so great, but I'm also going to add in a few extra ingredients to enhance the flavor. The first one that I'm adding is some fresh chopped cilantro, and then I squeezed in juice from 1/2 a lemon as well, and then mixed it all together into the curry until everything was fully coated and combined. I took it off the heat and it was time to plate it up, so I added in my white basmati rice from earlier, along with the spicy pumpkin tofu curry as well. Then I sprinkled it with some fresh cilantro for some extra garnish and extra fresh flavor.
This looks so freaking good, and I am so excited to try this spicy pumpkin curry sauce from Trader Joe's. Let's just dig in. I'm honestly very impressed because when I make curry, I usually just make my own sauce. This was incredible, and I will be buying it again unless it goes out of stock, which probably will because it's seasonal. I'm a fan. I'll be making this a lot. Next, we're making stir-fried rice out of cauliflower rice and frozen vegetables. I love this meal so much because there is no prep time like at all, which makes this a breeze because you just throw everything into the skillet with some seasonings and dinner is ready in no time. It's awesome. For this meal, we're doing everything on the stove, so we're gonna head over there now.
For this one, there is no chopping needed. We're using frozen vegetables only, so I'm adding in my frozen vegetable stir fry to a skillet over medium-high heat. I stir all my vegetables together and let them get heated through and let all of the water evaporate from the pan. Once the water evaporates, I'm adding in my frozen cauliflower rice to the pan as well, letting that get nice and heated through, and then stirring that together to mix it in with the frozen vegetables. For the seasonings, I don't really measure anything here. I'm just adding in a lot of garlic powder because you can never have too much garlic powder. I also added in some onion powder, quite a bit of ginger as well, but you can really use whatever seasonings you want here and that you have on hand. Then I crumbled in my Extra Firm Tofu, and I didn't bother to press it either. I let it sit in the middle so that the bottom could start to get nice and browned. Then I added in even more garlic powder because, again, you can never have too much. After that, I poured in 2 tablespoons of coconut aminos, along with 2 tablespoons of tamari and 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar. Mix that all together until everything was fully coated and combined. And that's it! Pretty straightforward, super easy meal. I took it off of the heat and it's time to plate up. I just added it into my bowl, and then I sprinkled on some fresh green onions, along with some red chili flakes for some extra heat.
All right, this looks so good, and I know I said 20-minute meals, but I'm pretty sure this one might only take 10 minutes. And quick does not mean not good because this will be freaking amazing. So let's try this. This is a solid meal. You can just throw it together super quickly. It's got your protein, got lots of vegetables. I like to make this when I am lazy, don't feel like cooking much, or don't have much time. I love it. If you want some more easy vegan meals that are not only easy on time, but easy on the budget, I've got a video for you right here. Go ahead and give it a click, and I'll see you in the next video.